We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. I guess what the other speakers are trying to join in, I just had to send them the link. But if you don't mind, can we just wait for, say, 3 more minutes so we have more people join us? And hopefully we will start very soon. I'm hoping we start 4:05. Thank you once again, everyone. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much once again, everybody, for joining us. This is a program that has been organized by Octave Analytics. Our Internet Safety Day, tips on keeping your kids, your children safe on the internet. And of course, this is a very auspicious program for us because this is the first time that we are doing this. So again, I just want to thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. The truth is, we have a lot of things going on. Everyone is busy, especially during the weekend. So for you guys to just, take out that time to just join us for this program, honestly, I can't thank you guys enough. And I believe so wholeheartedly that you all would, you will learn something tangible for your kids, for, kids around you or teenagers around you. So that being said, I guess we'll just start because, of course, we are very, very time conscious. And two of our speakers are already in our meeting. I think we're still waiting for our third speaker, but then again, as the saying goes, the show must go on. So I'm hoping that our other speaker will be joining us sometime later, as during the course of the program. So thank you once again, everyone. So I'm just going to quickly, introduce the two speakers that we have in our program. I mean, that two of our panelists. Sorry. So the first person I want to just quickly introduce is her name is Ibade Akpede. She is the chief commercial officer of Octave Analytics. But then again, she's going to be talking to us from the standpoint of a parent, because she's a wonderful mother with two beautiful girls. And of course, she has a few things to share as a parent. She has some things that she would just want to, just some tips that she has, used, or some tips that she has followed in order to, help her protect her kids on the internet. So I know she has a lot to offer in that regard. Our second speaker is Mr. Habib. Mr. Habib Adebisi. He is a cybersecurity expert, of course. Very, very knowledgeable in the field of security, cybersecurity, online security, and the whole lot. And of course, he also has a lot to say, in this regard, especially as regards internet safety for kids. So again, I just want to thank our two speakers that are already here. Thank you so much, Ibadi, and thank you so much, Habib, for joining us today. I'm truly grateful for you guys honoring our invitation.
Thank you, Tokwe, and good evening, everyone.
Thank you so much. Okay, so that being said, this program is recorded. Now, just want to quickly do a brief recap of the main reason why we decided to have this program. This didn't just come out of thin air. We didn't just decide, oh, we're looking for a program to do, let's call people together and let's have a program. No, that's not how it started. What happened was, so Octave Analytics, we do have a kids coding program. It's called Kids Code. We train kids from ages 5 to 13 on programming skills, and it's like a 4 weeks program where we train kids. Now, during the course of our training, we had this special program where we just spoke to kids about how to be safe on the internet, and we discovered that a lot of the kids had so many questions. And at a point, we were like, oh my God, so many kids are having so many issues, so many questions. At a point, I think in one of the sessions or something, one of the kids came to us and was like, oh, he's scared. Somebody has been contacting him online and he doesn't know what to do. He's afraid to tell his mommy and his daddy. And those were some of the feedback we got. And then we decided, okay, it's high time it's one thing for you to tell the kids on keeping themselves safe on the internet and stuff, but it's another thing for you to also talk to parents and talk to teachers and talk to guardians and adults on how to protect their kids. Because I'm telling you, some of these kids are going through a lot, but they can't express themselves. They're afraid to tell their parents and what have you. And so that's the main reason why we decided to have this program. That being said, this program is being recorded, and at the end of the program, we will also share the recordings to everyone that has attended, and so many people that also showed interest but were not able to attend to this program because of some other engagement. So we'll be sharing the recordings, and we are hoping that people derive insights or get like practical just something practical to help them with their kids as regards internet safety. So it's almost 4:10 and I'm just going to hit the show on the road. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. So let me just of course our CEO is also part of this program as well. I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Blessing Oladeji for putting this together. Thank you so much. Okay, sorry.
Hi everyone.
Hello, Mr. Blessing. Sorry, I just want to quickly admit some people. Okay, and for everyone that just joined us, thank you so much for coming. It's 4:10 and I'm super excited that you guys are part of this program. Of course, I want to quickly hit the show on the road, and I just want to, start by asking a couple of questions. So now during the registration process, we actually had people send in their questions, right? If you have any questions for the panelists, and a lot of insightful questions came in. It was very, very, we're very surprised at the quality of questions we were receiving. And that's just to tell you that there was actually a need for us to have this program. So I have some of these questions, and I'm just going to ask our panelists. So Mr. Habib, I don't know if, can you hear me, please, Mr. Habib?
Hi, Tokwe. Yes, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me as well.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much. So actually, I called your name because you're the first. I want to ask this question to you. Oh, and sorry, before we go on, so there would be a time, of course, for our participants to also ask questions. So please, just take note. If you have any burning question that you want to ask our panelists, of course, there will be time for you for that as well. And if you don't want to, if you also want to type in your questions in the comment section, please feel free. But of course, there will be time for you to ask your questions. So Mr. Habib, I would just, sorry, hold on. Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, I think I've done that. So Mr. Habib, this question is actually for you. Sorry. So, of course, you were part of the Kids Code program. You were part of the trainers that spoke to kids about internet safety, and of course, you remember how most of the kids were super excited, and they're telling you about their experiences and stuff. So we just wanted to know, just to start on a lighter note, can you just quickly, tell us as parents now, a lot of us here are parents, what can we do as parents? Just practical cases, on what tools are available for parents to keep their kids safe on the internet. So basically, are there any tools in particular that parents can actually use to keep their kids or their guardians or students, if they're teachers, safe on the internet?
Okay. Okay. Just I want to do a check again once more to be sure that everyone can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Awesome. So yes, and in a direct response, there are tools that does help parents, guardians, and teachers protect children online and keep them safe on the internet. There are software tools and there are one or two hardware tools as well. Yes, so that's the direct answer. There are tools, but a more robust answer and a more effective way to keep children safe online is beyond just the tools. Is also to involve the children as well. Keeping children safe online is an all-inclusive process. You need to bring the children in as well. And what I mean here is, so one of the first things one needs to do is to start the conversation early. So you're definitely going to need to have a conversation with the kids, with the children about online safety, about their safety on the internet. And it's never too early to start. So, and it goes beyond just even the internet. I mean, generally, what they watch on TV, advising them on how to stay away from harmful content, letting them know that there are contents meant for children and there are contents meant for adults, such that even when there are guidance or when no one is there to watch them, they are able to identify, to know that, oh, this is what mommy or daddy warned me about, and this is not what I should be watching. I have come across children that, for instance, when inappropriate content is shown on TV, they automatically change the station because they know that, oh, my parents have taught me that this is not something I should watch, and then they change it themselves. Because at the end of the day, like, kids know that, or rather kids have interest in certain things, and once you let them know that, okay, these are things that are meant for you, and that these are things that also go along with your interest, they actively seek out those things. But when you don't have this conversation with them, when you seem to come with a strict outlook, you are very hard on them, or you negate everything they want to do, because naturally kids will be adventurous, they are curious. So in as much as you want to let them to play and explore their curiosity, you also want to guide them. And if you start early, they learn quickly, and then they begin to implement those things on your own. A lot of the approach that guardians and parents use for protecting kids online is through monitoring. While that is good, that is usually not always the most effective approach. Guidance coupled with monitoring is better. So for me, I would say first thing to do is have the conversation with them. Don't shy away from the conversation. Always understand that kids are smart and they always look for ways around getting these things done. So instead of being forceful, being strict, explain to them, guide them, let them understand that no one is saying they shouldn't do this, but it's not the right time. There are certain information that is too high for them, that even if they come across it, they would not understand and to only further confuse them. However, also show them that there are more engaging and more interesting content that they would enjoy as children. So that's the first thing. Second thing is to also, once in a while, find time to actively engage this content with them. It's not enough to just show it to them. Sometimes you also need to participate with them. So, for instance, parents, research has shown that parents that sometimes watch cartoon with their children, the kids um, have higher retention and they enjoy it more and tend to do it better on their own than kids that are always left, to their own devices all the time because the parent probably feels, oh, this is children content. I don't need it. Yes, you don't, obviously, but you're not doing it for yourself. You're actually trying to build that relationship and trust with your children. So even on the internet as well, when you find content appropriate for your children, sometimes you need to spend time with them using it, going to children's sites, showing them online games. Sometimes you download an app for them on their device or on your device, and then you play it together with them. So it opens that door for interaction. They are able to come to you because one of the biggest exploits that online predators use against children, and I remember mentioning this to the kids when we had the session with them, is that air of fear that they are hoping that the children will not be able to tell their parents or their guardians what they are doing online, what they found online, and you don't want your kids to fall into that bracket. Mistakes will happen. Child should sometimes, no matter what you do in terms of protection, some things will happen. Your kids will stumble on some things. But what is more important is what they do afterward. Do they come and report to you? Are they free enough to engage you to say, mommy, daddy, auntie, uncle, sir, ma, I found this or I saw something? Or are they afraid to say, oh, if I tell mommy or if I tell auntie, she will smack me and spank me and even accuse me for doing that? So in essence, it's important to engage with them as you guide them, as you show these things online. Also engage with them, enjoy it with them, watch it with them, play the games with them. That way, you're able to build that relationship with them, and they're able to trust you more. So these are the first steps you need to take. I don't want to go too technical yet, but for that first question, these are the things you need to do. Lastly, to round up is if you're going to protect children online, then you as the guardian or the protector, you also need to have some knowledge about it yourself. So it's good that parents and other people are here attending sessions like this because it helps them to also build their knowledge. You cannot give what you don't have. And always remember that kids are smart. So you yourself, you need to be just as tech savvy as they are, if not more, so that you are able to help them in essence. Yeah, so I'll stop there for now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Habib. Honestly, I feel like you've answered almost all the questions I've had. Like, oh my God, that was just super amazing with the what you just said and your answer. Thank you so much. I guess so. What I would do is, of course, I'm gonna go to Ibade next, and so my question to Ibade is, sorry, hold, okay. So, okay, let me just quickly give a brief background. So our CEO, of course, is here in the meeting, Mr. Blessing, and he shared a story about his kid, right? I think he said something about, I can't remember what exactly his kid said, but his kid actually saw something online and he was asking his father about this particular thing he saw. So the mother at first, brushed it off, and the mother didn't really think much about it. But because our CEO was very, a bit intuitive, he actually probed further and found out that apparently, I think the kid was actually saw like gay content online. I just wanted to, get, just know more about it or something. And so some of these things, I think as parents, we need to be very observant about some of the things that our kids, some of the things our kids watch on the internet. And so that actually brings me to my next question, Ibadi. As a parent, two beautiful daughters, and of course, your kids, of course, are super smart. They're always on the internet. Are there any practical measures that you have used in monitoring your kids' activity on the internet? For instance, I've had someone who says, oh, I don't allow my kids to have their computers or their phones once it's 7 o'clock. I tell them, don't turn it on. I don't want to see you with a computer. But, again, kids can be very sneaky, So I just want to know if for you particularly, if you have actually adopted some certain measures that have been very effective in helping you monitor your kids' activities online.
Okay, thank you very much, Tokwe. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good. Okay, so what we have done in my house, the first thing is, yes, we've had, like Mr. Habib has said, it's important to have that conversation. Good enough, they've also had that in school, telling them about internet safety. In addition to that, we've had a conversation with them so they understand. And they also know what is appropriate content and what is not appropriate. But we've taken it a step further. So what we've done is we've also put restrictions on their devices through Microsoft accounts. So it helps us monitor what they do, the sites that they visit. It has also blocked some sites that are not for children, because the thing is, sometimes children do not, it's not like they want to go and check out things that are not appropriate, but sometimes in this course of searching for something online, something pops up, they don't know what it is, they click on it, and that's how they stumble on things like this. So we've also blocked some websites so that they cannot have that, so that there's no chance of that happening. So it only recognizes sites that they've been, that is appropriate for them. We've also put the ones that they're allowed to visit and the ones they're not allowed to visit. Good enough, with the Microsoft account, it also has a restriction. So even though it's 10 p.m., but I know that you can set it for the time you want when you do not want them to continue to be on their device. That's one thing we've done. Another thing we've done is that we do not let them use their computers, their laptops in their rooms, even though they can use their tablet, but it's this Kindle tablet, and there's a restriction on what they can view, games and things like that. So they do not have unrestricted access even in their rooms. And then in the living room, which is where they use their laptops, we position the laptops in such a way that there's a 360-degree view of the laptop. So you cannot hide. You are like a goldfish when you're on your laptop. Anybody walking by can actually see what's going on your device. So I would say that those are the things that we've done. But again, you can never be too careful. If you don't mind, if I share a practical experience I've had, even though we have restrictions on my children's laptops, the younger one, who is just 5, actually put online, I don't know, I think it's one of their cartoons. I don't know why, Rainbow, I don't remember which now, but she was saying apparently it was a love story. The cartoon is about a love story. So, and then she went to type it on Bing, which is the Microsoft search, and this person kissing that person, and I'm like, these children, what just goes on in their mind? And I asked her, why would you type somebody kissing somebody? She was like, oh, she just wanted to know because maybe she watched it on TV or something, all these, they are seemingly innocent cartoon where the prince marries the princess and they live happily ever after, and then there's some kissing involved. So we really cannot be too careful. We just need to keep monitoring and keep talking to them and hoping for the best.
Thank you so much, Bade. I mean, that example was just, it's typical of what parents experience, with their children and stuff. And I think it just boils down to, parents just having like a really, really strong relationship with their kids, so that when they have questions, they don't immediately go to Google and search. They can come to mommy and daddy and ask, and mommy and daddy can like steer them in the right direction, or just, make sure that they get to understand without being exposed to the dangers and the, so quote unquote predators on the internet. Thank you so much, Ibade, for that beautiful answer. And I just want to also, so this question is also again for you, Ibade. Now I think this question comes from a lot of parents who have shared their experience. Okay, I'll just quickly give a very brief story. A girl who, of course, in the UK, she was experiencing cyberbullying and, very innocent girl who, unfortunately for her, she got entangled into the whole craziness on the internet, and I think they had a nude picture. So this girl was going through a lot. Her parents didn't notice, no one around her noticed, or maybe they did not actually see the signs until this girl took her own life. And of course, so and it started bringing up conversations around, okay, how do we know that our kids are actually going through certain stuff that has to do with dangers on the internet? And so my question is this, Ibade, as a parent, how, or as for parents that are out there, how can you be able to tell when your kid is actually going through some how I don't know if you understand. Okay,
I understand, like depression or
thank
something.
you. Yes,
Okay,
so
yeah.
of course, some kids actually go through a lot. They are being exposed. You have predators online trying to mess with them and stuff. But parents are not really astute. They are not really aware. That they don't really understand. They don't take note of what is going on with their kids. So as a parent, what are the signs that one should take note of? When it comes to their kids, in order to quickly know what is going on with their kids regarding all these dangers on the internet and be able to act fast.
Okay, before I go to answer your question, I would like to clarify or to just say my own personal view concerning this. You can do your best, right? But sometimes your best not that your best is not good enough. Sometimes things just happen. So I don't think parents should overly beat themselves up when some of these things go wrong. I've heard of pastors' children committing suicide and things like that. It doesn't mean that their parents necessarily did not have time for them or they were too focused on other things. Sometimes these things happen. But that being said, sometimes there may be signs. You just need to be very perceptive, which is why it's very important to try and develop a friendship with your children, so that they are comfortable telling you. But I read a lot and I've come across, authorities and even, psychologists and the rest saying that sometimes even the best parents cannot pick some things, not because they are not friends with their children or not because they are not doing their best, but sometimes it may just be a 24-hour decision when it comes to things like suicide and stuff like that. So nobody is praying for those kind of things. So in terms of practical steps that can be taken, I would say be friends with your children. It's good to have, them able to tell you how their day went, what was fun about it, what was not so fun, or, try and know their names of their friends, try and ask them if they have new friends, or, okay, what do they like about their friends? Or if they don't have friends, why don't they have friends? You just need to be able to converse with them so that it's not when they are going through trouble that you now expect them to come talk to you. But again, just to tie it back to what we talked about before about the kissing thing. My children and I, we are very close. We talk a lot and all that. But sometimes children are just children, or they just want to somehow. Sometimes children just want their own independence. Sometimes, so I would say that you can do your best. You keep being observant. You keep ensuring that you do not put them in harm's way. And again, you keep hoping for the best. I think that's really my message. Hope for the best, but do your part. Like watch them, ask them questions, try and know their friends, try and make your house a place where their friends can come to, depending on the age. Even no matter how young they are. I know I've read somewhere where, the lady was saying that her house was like the meeting point for a lot of people, and that built her self-confidence. The challenge we're having with social media these days, because that's what is generating a lot of this depression and increase in suicide, is that it brings this false sense of community. So people feel they are friends with people online that maybe they've never met, and then what those people say really affects them. And sometimes when you say things to people that you can see, the way it's received is different from something that is written online and things like that. Even on WhatsApp, sometimes communication can be misconstrued. So I think it's very important that for our children, we try and steer them towards having real human friends that they can come to your house or you can go to their house, as against just online friends. I think social media, unfortunately, is antisocial. Not many people can manage it. Even I hear that those in the tech industry, like Silicon Valley, a lot of them don't let their children have devices until they are 16 at the minimum. So I think we should also shield our children from social media. It makes them, get to want to have some false sense of ideal. They're looking up to some false sense of ideal, So let's try and protect them again from social media. But you cannot do it if you two are always on your phone. So even for us parents, it's important that we self-regulate when it comes to social media. Let's not spend all the time on social media. Let's try and have meaningful relationships outside social media, both with internally in our homes and even externally. And then that way we are teaching our children, because children learn more from what we do than what we say.
Thank you so much, Ibade. Thank you, because the thing about it is that this actually, what you said about the social media actually leads to my next question, and of course, this question is for Mr. Habib, of course, and of course, it's all about the dangers on the internet and, on social media, of course, so to say. Mr. Habib, so I want to ask this question now. First of all, I just want to know, is there a suitable age for parents? For parents to allow their kids open an account on social media. I don't know if there's a suitable age for kids to have an account on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. And second of all, based on what Ibade just made mention of, if your kid ends up having a social media account, what are some of the things that parents should look out for in order to protect their kids from, criminals on social media and social network, and just preventing criminals from targeting your kids on social media? So what are some of those measures that parents should put in place in regards that?
All right. Okay. So, so the first question is still under debate a lot. But here's the thing: there's no perfect age for a child to come on social media. What is advisable is to make sure that the child is well aware and well oriented before they come online. So like Imade mentioned, and by the way, great points, Imade, thank you. Even I, not being a parent, I've learned a lot just by listening to you, or some contribution. I was just nodding as I was listening to you, but yeah, so from what you mentioned, the Silicon Valley people, the tech guys, their penchant for pegging it at 16 is reasonable, but we've seen kids lower than that also come online. I know that some websites like Facebook, for instance, they peg it at 13, right? So some social media sites put their limit at 13, and then while the majority of the tech savvy people, like Silicon Valley, for instance, decide to put theirs at 16. But I would say whether 13, whether 10, whether 16, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old is not properly educated on online etiquettes, particularly, and online conduct, the person is just as naive as a 10-year-old coming online. So at the end of the day, it's the same thing. What is more important is the orientation the person already has before they come online, because it's inevitable at some point they will come online. So as early as it's possible to start talking to them, start letting them know that this is what and what they should do, and then lead by example, just like what Imade has mentioned. At some point, I was going to mention that in the course of the conversation, that it is a very, very effective method of safety for children, that is leading by example. So you yourself, as a parent, as a guardian, you will need to self-regulate, as Imade has said. Of course, we are adults, right? And we know right from wrong. And some of us might be, might have one or two adult engagement online. But what is important is to be very, I won't say secretive now, but make sure that there isn't a breach between the two. It might be hard to maintain, but try as much as possible, especially for those of us that might be sharing devices. So, due to cost and all of that, some families might not be able to have separate devices for the kids and for the adults. So there might be needs to share. So maybe for instance, the kids do not have their own phone yet. So they sometimes use mommy or daddy's phone and all of that. In instances like that, and even when you are not sharing devices, what is important here is making sure that your online activities, your online behavior, as you, the guardian, is something that is being done, leadership by example, like, because the kids are watching your words, they learn by observation, they see what you do. So you that you're already on social media, you should be able to, your kid should be able to be with you when you're online. I've seen instances where, say, a dad is having a harmless meeting online, and then the kid can, playfully wander in or stumble into the meeting. And the only issue here is you're trying to stop the child from distracting you, not shielding the child away from what you're doing online in that moment, because it piques their curiosity. So if you constantly have to hide what you are doing on the internet when your kids are around, it naturally piques their curiosity and they want to find out what it is. But if you have this open air where, so let's say you're on Facebook this evening, you're looking at people's posts and all of that. Once in a while, your kids can come up to you and say, "Ah, Daddy, what are you doing? Let me see." And then you show him, and they say, "Oh, this is this, this is that." You're already beginning. Of course, they are not online yet. You may not even want them to have a social media account at that age, but you're already exposing them to what it looks like, to what it is. So it doesn't, to them, it's no longer a thing of, I want to try this thing when that is not there. In fact, sometimes they're looking forward to when you're around so that they can solve the internet with you. So I think leadership by example would help more as against trying to figure out what age they should come online. What I would sometimes say to parents, because this is not the first time I've had this question, what I would sometimes tell guardians and parents is that explain this to your children and let them know that social media is not a priority. It should be an afterthought for them. They should focus, like Imade has said, on their social relationships with the friends that they have, their schoolmates, their neighbors, and all of that. When they feel that they are comfortable enough, when they feel that, okay, I want to try out social media, let them inform you, and then you can help them open it. Let them know that they don't need to go behind your back to have a social media account. If let your child know that if tomorrow they say, "Oh, mommy, I want to come on Facebook," you are happy to have that conversation with them and help them do it. That way, it makes them know that they have control and that it also puts you in control of what they do. As against telling them, no, you're too young for this, you cannot do this yet. No, it's not allowed until you're 18, until you're 16. It puts this expectation in their mind, and it makes it become something they want to achieve. So they look forward to it. It's like saying, if you read well and pass your exam, I'll buy you a bicycle. Well, that is a good incentive, for them to pass and do stuff. That should not really be the angle you want to take with social media, because there's also peer pressure to consider. While you may put a restriction on your own words to say, no, you're too young for social media at this time. I'm not going to open it for you. You're not allowed. You don't know what their friends are already doing. You don't know the kind of conversation they're having with their friend. But if you make it an open conversation with them to say, okay, I'm on Facebook. This is what Facebook looks like. This is what Twitter looks like. But I don't think you should focus on this right now. There are other more important things you need to do. However, if you're ready to come on social media, if you're interested, let me know and I would guide you on how to do it. It puts them more in control. And then because I've actually seen this happen where I was at a children camp sometime early last year, and some kids were talking about, it was gaming actually. It was actually gaming. So there's this video game. There's so many video games today where players can interact with each other online. But you have to activate the online account. So one particular kid was telling his friends that, oh, he's talking to someone in one other country, I've forgotten now, and that they play together and all of that. And the other one was like, oh yeah, we have that game too, but my mom told me that I should just enjoy the game for now, that there's no need for me to talk to anyone. It's not compulsory, it's not part of the game. But that if I'm interested in talking to anyone online while I'm playing the game, that I should let her know and then she'll help me do it. And I was so impressed that at that young age, the kid understood. So it wasn't new to the kid. The kid was not impressed by the brag, like, oh, I can talk to someone and playing a game online. And the child was like, yeah, I know about it, but my mom has told me that when I'm like, it's not important. It's not part of the game that I'm playing. But if I'm interested in talking to anyone online, if I let her know, she'll allow me to do it. And I learned something from that, that sometimes you need to let these kids know that you understand them. You need to come to the level and let them know that, look, I know that you find this thing interesting and you might want to be involved, but don't let that be your attention for now. When you feel that you want to do it, let me know and I'll help you. It does a lot of wonders for the children, for their self-esteem, for their confidence, and it reduces the unnecessary interest they'll have in those things. So that's what I would say for the age range, right? Just let them know that it's available to them when they are ready, and then when they are ready or they are interested, they should let you know, and you'll guide them on how they should go about it. And then for the approaches, what can you do when they are online? Um, Again, if you're already on that platform, um, make sure that you show them how to create the platform. Don't leave it to them to do alone. Let it be an inclusive process. If possible, let them include you in their circle of friends. So, for instance, maybe their profile picture, you can actually be with them in their profile picture. Something like that. Also, show them the privacy controls that they have. Show them how to turn it on, how to turn it off. Show them those settings, explore it together with them, let them know what they should share and what they should not share, teach them about privacy, let them understand that when you are online, certain information should not be told to anyone. And if anyone is asking about certain information, they should let you be aware before they put it out there, And so there are no software tools or anything like that for social media. It's just about online etiquette. You will probably need to, you yourself as a guardian, you'll need to maybe if possible, do some personal courses on online etiquette. What is appropriate online? What do you do online? And then share that knowledge with your children so that they are aware. And that way, you as a parent, you are able to check in every once in a while to see how they are doing online. For instance, here's a thing I've also observed. So children on WhatsApp, children that have their own WhatsApp accounts, they sometimes block their family members, especially their parents, from seeing their status. And some parents are not even aware. They don't even know that. So because I've seen a situation where I have an adolescent whose WhatsApp number I have, and I saw some funny content on their WhatsApp status. And in my mind, I was like, I don't think this person's parents can see this picture. They would probably have stopped the child or something. So I started chatting with the person and I told the person that, who have you blocked on your contact? And the person was like, oh yes, I blocked some people. And I nodded because I could tell from what I saw in that status that I don't think this person's parents would have approved of this. So it also goes to show that you as the guardian, you need to know how to use that platform very well. Sometimes you're not in a particular platform, but you notice that your kids are on that platform. You need to be on that platform just for the purpose of knowing how to use it so that you are able to watch what they do on it and then help them use it better. So I would say those are the kind of things you need to do. It's important to let them understand online etiquette. It's important to let them understand privacy, how to use their privacy settings on that platform, and then try to be as engaging with them on that platform as possible. You're not stalking them. You're not, being overlords on them, but let them know that you also want to be a part of their social media and online experience. And if you're friendly with them, if you let them understand that you want to share this experience with them, they will allow you in, as against trying to hide something from you. Yeah. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Habib. And I honestly, you have just given us a load of knowledge today and insights. I mean, even the question I would have asked you, but you've basically answered it about, online etiquettes and how parents should be involved. Basically, I kind of laughed when you said some kids block their parents online. I think, I think some of, I know some of my cousins actually used to do the same thing. They blocked their parents on WhatsApp. And the same thing with you. I noticed that on their status, they were putting funny things up there. And I just knew for a fact that their parents were not aware of what they were posting. So at the end of the day, it's very important that parents should, be involved as much as possible in their kids' lives, so that they can, not in a very they should just be involved. It doesn't necessarily have to be like the kids are doing their own thing and they are doing their own thing. No, they should be involved. And another thing you made mention of, which I think is really important, is if your kid decides to open a social media account, the parent should be involved in opening that account for the child. You made mention of something, for the child's profile picture, the parent should be there. I want to say this because I read a story about how some really funny sites and predators online, how they go to kids' websites or kids' social media handles and download their pictures and put them on porn sites or kid porn sites for, pedophiles and stuff. And that's one of the dangers that we find on the internet. So, putting all these measures in place, telling your kids about privacy settings and, online etiquette and stuff, they really, really go a long way. So thank you very much, Mr. Habib, for that wonderful contribution. So I'm going to open the floor, of course, for questions, because in as much as some people sent us their questions before now, I know that some of our parents in this session we'll probably have one or two questions to ask the panelists, or you could just throw your question out, and if someone else has an answer, then of course they could provide some insights as well, or something, some measures that they have also put in place to keep their kids safe. So it's kind of like a forum. Yes, you can ask your questions, you can direct your questions to the panelists, or you could just throw your questions out there, and somebody in the audience will of course take up your question and probably answer and give insights as well. Okay, so some people, you can also type in your questions. Thank you very much. And of course, if you also want to ask your questions, you can just raise your hands up. There's an icon with that, the hand, so you could just click on that, and of course I'll just call on you, and so you can share your question. So of course in the comment section we do have one question from Ms. Smith. So yes, what restrictions can we put on their device? I think that's something that is also very important, because we can talk and say a lot, but if we don't have like some practical insights that we can use, then I don't know if we'll be able to do much. So yes, Ibade, I want to direct this question to you. I think you made mention of some measures, but is there anything that you can also are there any measures that restrictions that you can put on kids' devices?
I know for a fact that I know that there will be apps, even though none comes to mind at the moment. We use Microsoft settings, Microsoft account. So you can have, if you use Microsoft, right, that as regular Microsoft, you can set up an account and then you use the Microsoft family account. That way you can put restrictions. That's the only one I know for a fact, but I know that if you surf the internet, you will find some apps that can let you know that you can use. I also think that even on the search engines, there are ways to put restrictions, maybe with password or something. I know that there are, just maybe cannot lay my finger now on a specific one apart from Microsoft. So maybe Mr. Habib or even Mr. Blessing or anybody else can maybe give some specific names if you know any.
Yeah, I would even want to direct this question to Mr. Blessing. Of course, as an IT guru yourself, and you have 3 wonderful kids. So I don't know if you have any app that you've used, or I don't know what restrictions have you used that you've placed on their devices anyway. Mr. Blessing, this question is for you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. very professional conversation, very helpful conversation, insight from all the panelists. Thank you for all of that. So I think Habib is an expert in this area. So most of us, it's probably what we are very conversant with it, what we use, but I'm sure that he has explored a lot of different tools that are available in this particular area. So what I do is that, when you connect to a new Wi-Fi network, you realize that there's a question that pops up. It asks whether is it a home network or office network or public network. Your selection actually matters when you pick one of those three options. When it's public, when it's home, the security setting for each of these differs. So parents need to be very much aware of that. But in terms of security settings that we have put in place or what we have implemented, some of those things the panelists have mentioned them. You cannot set up your PC in a place where anyone that is passing by would not see what is going on your screen at every point in time. That's number one. Then also from the browser setting, you can actually set the level of restrictions that that are permissible for the browser restriction, because one of the easiest way that kids or even adults go to the internet is through the internet browser. So you can set the browser setting in such a way that some contents are not allowed until you reset that setting. That is when those type of contents are allowed. Then, I think those ones, more importantly, but beyond that, kids are smart. Kids are very, very smart. They'll just find a way around some of these things. But parents too need to be as smart as their kids. One thing I do is that I say, bring your PC. I want to check something. Then I'll go to their browsing history. So everything they have seen for the past 1 week or for the past 1 month, I can go to the browsing history and check that, oh, you have been watching cartoon. I asked you to do your homework, but you have been watching cartoon. And then the guy will be wondering, how did my daddy know that I've been watching cartoon? And I'll tell you, this is the cartoon you've been watching. He never knew that that's what they call browsing history. But I think with time, he will get to mature to know that, see, there's something they call browsing history, and it can be deleted. I need to lower my voice because they are around the corner. It can be deleted. So, they are going to get smarter than us later on. So we too need to continue to build on our level of knowledge with regards to internet safety and internet security. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Blessing. Thank you. So, Mr. Habib, I guess the question is also directed to you. And also, I think let me just quickly ask the same question, because it kind of ties into the previous one about restrictions we can put on our devices. So in the comment section, someone says, what setting do we choose for the Wi-Fi? And of course, this is another question. We got the same question during the registration process, where someone actually said, oh, what are the precautions I should take when using a public Wi-Fi? So these are just like, let's say 3 in 1. So what restrictions can we put on our devices? What settings do we choose for Wi-Fi? And how do we take precautions when we use public Wi-Fi? Because I can tell you, I have been, I used the public Wi-Fi and I did something really, really dumb. I did a transaction on my system, and before you know it, I was scammed. It was really terrible. That's for me, an adult, not to even talk of kids, So I don't know if you have something to say about that, sir.
Yeah, sorry about your experience. Happens to the best of us. What is important is to learn from that experience so that it doesn't happen again. So in line with what Mr. Blessing mentioned, yes, truly. So what does happen is that so there are 3 levels, like Mr. Blessing mentioned: home, office, and public. That's the network selection for your Wi-Fi connections. And the basic idea behind those 3 options is to train the device, is to let the device know what network to trust, which network is a trusted network connection, such that in the future, the device can turn on Wi-Fi automatically to connect to that connection whenever it's available. So for instance, if you have a home device, if you have a home internet connection and your device is connecting to that Wi-Fi connection for the first time and it asks you, so especially your computer now, and you pick home connection, what it means is that at that period of the day on your device, as at the time your device connected to that Wi-Fi connection, let's say it was around 4 p.m. in the evening, what could possibly happen is that every day at 4 p.m., your device Wi-Fi icon would come on to search for that Wi-Fi connection and turn it on and then connect to it. It's just for ease. It was designed for the purpose of ease. There's also a security aspect to it as well. It also means that whatever connection restrictions, whatever device connection restrictions you put in place may not be applicable for a home Wi-Fi connection because it's your home. It's the Wi-Fi that you have put up yourself, so you can trust whatever connection is there, and it's within your home. It is believed that a home Wi-Fi connection is not exposed to the public, so no one else outside of your home can connect to that connection. And then office is slightly higher than home in the sense that it's a bit public, but it's still a bit restricted because there is a supposed IT manager in charge of that office Wi-Fi. So we would have put in some technical restrictions on the connection to any device that is connecting to it. And then public, as the name denotes, it's a public Wi-Fi, probably free, or even if it's not free, the fact that it's anyone with the password, if there's a password, can connect to it. And this is not the safest type of Wi-Fi connection to use, but once you select that for your device is able to initiate certain restrictions around it to prevent unnecessary traffic from going between your device and that Wi-Fi connection. So all of them are good to use depending on the situation you are in. But for this conversation that we're having and for general safety, especially when it comes to laptops, computer and devices, it's better to just pick public connection so that you're in that way, you are training your device to treat the Wi-Fi connection as public. And this is especially good for the kids because sometimes you set restrictions on the device for when they should be online, but because you've selected home connection for your Wi-Fi device, sometimes the Wi-Fi would turn on itself and then automatically connect to the device. So even when the kids are not meant to be online, sometimes they're automatically online because your device has been told that this connection is home, so it just automatically connects to it and picks it up. So while that in itself is not terribly harmful, it might affect the restrictions you've put in place for internet time because we're in the jet age, so to say, where kids are now using devices to do their homework, and sometimes they may not require the internet to do it. They just need they need the soft copy of an assignment that they need to type on their system before they can submit to their teacher, or maybe they need to write an essay and they want to type it on the system before they print it out. But because your computer has been connected to your Wi-Fi as a home connection, it just automatically picks the internet Wi-Fi in the house and connects to it. And your child was innocently doing his assignments on Microsoft Word, suddenly realizes that, oh, there's internet, there's Wi-Fi, and then the person is either distracted or finds things that he should not find. So, and this is especially important in fact, it's important for both, whether you are sharing your device with your child or it's their own device. It's just advisable, at least when they are young, maybe later when they are much older and mature, and they now know right from wrong, you can remove those restrictions. But I would say going forward, connect to all Wi-Fi connections, whether it's in your house, in your office, at home, connect to everything as public. Don't select office, even your office Wi-Fi, connect to it as public. So it automatically tells your device, your computer now, or maybe your tablet or your phone, it automatically tells them that, oh, this Wi-Fi connection should be treated as a public Wi-Fi. So all necessary restrictions apply. So that's the first thing you can do. Now, one interesting feature for search engines, and all search engines have this feature, is safe search. There's something called safe search, and there's something called restrictive search. It's a bit tedious, but it's worth the while. So safe search is easier. It's just a feature you can turn on. It's on Google, it's on Bing, it's on DuckDuckGo. That's another type of online search engine. Even Yahoo, all of these search engines, you can turn on the safe search feature. What that means is that it will automatically, so whenever you search for anything, it will automatically filter adult content from the search results. That's if there's any adult content at all from the search result, it automatically filter it out. So anything with gory images or nude images or inappropriate image content will be filtered out of the search results. That's the first level. The second level is to now go to advanced settings under the search engine settings itself. And then there's a place where you can restrict certain words. So when you go to that feature on your browser now, say you're using Chrome or Google browser, for instance, I mean the Google search engine, for instance, and you after you've turned on safe search, still within that setting menu, you would always see something called advanced settings. And then under advanced settings, you will see something around keyword search or keyword restriction, something along those lines. So in that space, you can then type in keywords that you want the browser to specifically block from search results. So keywords like naked, fuck, what else? All those nasty words you don't want your kids to come across online. You can type it into that settings, and then once you save it, whatever they search for, those those items, those words will be blocked from the search results. They will not come across it online. So that's another thing you can do. Then for devices, I don't know if all modern day devices currently have that feature, but I know one or two devices that already do this by brand name. So I know of Samsung and I know of the Kindle. So Samsung Kindle and the Mac, the Apple tablets, they have these features I'm about to mention, and that feature is called the Kid. Well, different manufacturers call different name, but the idea is it's called Kid Zone, something like that. Kid Zone. So what it simply means is there's a way you can turn your device into a child's device, or there's a way you can turn your device, whether it's a Samsung tablet now or an Apple tablet. There's a setting that allows you to turn it into a kid's like kid mode, so to say, like children mode. So what that does is that embedded in that device are children games, children friendly icons, and areas of your device that your child can explore. And then once you turn that feature on before handing it over to them, um, that is all they see on your device. So any other thing that is pertaining to you or what you don't want them to see is automatically shut off from that device. And you can also time it, or you can leave it on. You can lock it such that no one can turn it off except you. So like I said, I know of Samsung, I know of the Apple device, and I know Kindle has that feature as well. So it's always a good thing to have that feature turned on activated, so that every time your kid is on the device, they are on the kid version of the device. That's another thing you can do. Then another step you can take is to set timers. So for this, you probably need apps. None comes to my mind now, but I will explain later. So what I'm basically saying is that there are certain apps that you can install on your children's device that act as a timer. That they do two things. Some apps can automatically shut down the device at certain times that you have set it to. So let's say you have a policy that once it's 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., no one should be pressing any device. They should either be in bed resting and all of that. But you might not always be around to watch them or to be sure that they follow that. So you have these apps installed such that when is that time, the device automatically turns off the network or shuts down, and it doesn't come on until the appropriate time. So even when they try to power it on, it will not come on because that device has locked the power button, so it doesn't work for that period until the next day. You can have apps that do that. Other features would also include restricting certain things on the app from working at certain times. So at certain hours of the day, the browser might stop working, which means whenever they tap the browser icon on the device, it will not work because it's telling them that. So it has funny phrases that it uses where to say internet time is over, time to do your homework. It depends on what you type into the device for them. Basically, these are just ways to let your children know that there should be control over how they use devices or how they go online. It's not something they need to do 24/7 every day. There should be time allocation for it. So there are apps that do this. What I would do is, none comes to my mind right now, though I know a couple. And where I am at the moment, internet is not so great, and I don't have access to some of my online documents where I could have shared this information with us. But Tokwe has my email address. So today, this evening, or maybe tomorrow morning, when I'm able to get proper power and internet, I'll put together that resource and send it to Tokwe, and then she can share with all of us that are attending. This would include the name of those apps and some of the steps you can take in terms of device control. Some of the things I've already mentioned and some that I don't recall now that I'll put together in the email I'll forward to Tokwe, and then she can share with all of us. So those are some of the things that we can do in terms of protecting our children on the devices that they use. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Habib. Thank you so much. That was, and thank you, of course, for the in advance for the resources that you'll be sharing to us later. I'm really grateful. So, just a quick recap. He made mention of setting your Wi-Fi to public, having the safe search or restriction search feature on your browsers, just to restrict your kids' activities online. And of course, for certain devices, you can have the kids zone activated. You can also download certain apps. Of course, we'll be sharing these resources to everyone who have attended today's program. All we just need, of course, is please, if you do not mind, can you just type in your emails in the comment section below so that we can get those your emails, and of course send the resources to you, of course, after today's program. Mr. Habib, of course, and Mr. Blessing, of course, you're also part of the program as well. So I want to throw this question because somebody asked a very important question, and this question also came during the registration process. I think someone else asked the same question. So the question is, how do we know if our system has been hacked? Now the truth about it is, I was watching a program online, and it's not only about computers now. Some of these devices like Echo Dots, Google Home Hub, and all that stuff. I watched a program where the camera in the baby's room was hacked, and hackers were talking to the baby and stuff like that. So I'm just saying that it goes beyond just your computer. A lot of things can be hacked. And so I think that I want to ask, I don't know, because I know that Mr. Blessing actually unmuted his mic, so I don't know if you can just share tips, on how parents can know that their devices or their kids' devices have been hacked, so that they can take precautions.
Thank you so very much. It's a very difficult one. It's extremely difficult. Let me start with those that work in corporate offices, for instance. For some of the parents that are here that work in corporate environment, some other people are probably, some people are probably accessing your PCs. You are there, you are right there by your computer, you are working, but there's an IT guy on the second floor or the third floor that is accessing all of your emails, that is accessing all the files that are on your computer, and you would never know that such is happening. It can go on for many years, and you never get to know, because it just takes a special skill. People go to school to learn some of these things. People write certification for ethical hacking, for network security, and the rest. So I think it's very difficult. It's just for you to take precautions. And that way people might even, okay, so I'll tell you one that people do. So you might type, while you are typing your password, so the guy will just stand behind your shoulders, and he has his camera, he has the camera on his phone, he has the camera on, and the camera is tracking what you are keying on your keyboard. And by the time you are gone, the person goes to try the password that you are keying on your keyboard, and somehow he'll be able to guess it and get it properly, get the password that you are keying. How would you know that somebody else is getting into it's accessing your emails or accessing your personal files? It's just by you to take some precautions, like maybe changing your password very regularly, and be more careful. You just need to be more careful. It's very difficult to know if you have been hacked. You may never know that you've been hacked until a very, very long time. But this is one easy way. If you have your email and an email you've not read, it's showing that it's been read. So if an email has not been read, the format of that email is different from when it has been read. So if your email is showing as if it's been read and you know that you've not read this email, that is just an indication that you need to change your password, and you need to change your password very, very fast. But honestly, you may not know. You might take your PC to a repairer to help you to fix something on your computer, and the guy will install what they call keylogger. What keylogger does is that everything you type on your computer, it tracks it, saves it in a file, and you can send it to a remote location. You can send it to somebody else's password. So each time you type your password or your bank account details or your credit card details, the keylogger is tracking that, and you will not know. You can never know that the keylogger is there, except maybe when you have an antivirus or an anti-spamware software on your computer that can just quickly flag it that there's a particular software that is on your computer that's a malicious software or it's a harmful software, and to advise you to delete it. So I would recommend have softwares like antiviruses installed on your computer, have some of these security settings set on your computer. That's what they call Windows Defender. A lot of us will use Windows computer. Make sure that your Windows Defender is enabled. Don't disable your Windows Defender. It comes with some basic settings that help you to secure your computer. Then also, your operating system should update automatically, because the hackers and the guys that maliciously get into your PC, they get smarter every now and then. And the guys who have also built the operating system, they also get smarter. So each time they come up with updates, security updates. So if your PC is not activated to automatically update the security settings, it leaves your PC vulnerable. But in terms of knowing whether your PC has been hacked, man, it's difficult. Even the best of the best of us, our PCs get. Even Twitter account got hacked for guys like Obama some weeks ago. So it's difficult to really know.
Thank you so much, Mr. Blessing. That was just very practical. I mean, at the end of the day, there is so much we can do, but we should definitely take precautions. Of course, we'll definitely be sharing all this. We'll be sharing this recording, of course, to everyone who attended today's program, and at the same time, we'll also be sending the resources to your email so that you can just go over it and just revise on what we've spoken about today. I think. Okay, so I do have some Temidayo Adeni actually. Okay, it's more of it's a question and a comment anyway. He's saying here you should you hide your device security configuration settings from your kids? I think the conversation is key here. They can know, but you should prevent them from accessing such settings. Those settings can be passworded such that only you can make the changes. So, they can know that you are putting some security configuration settings on their devices, but they shouldn't have access to it, of course, because if they do have access to it, then the purpose is defeated. And, you should be the only one that can make updates, change their passwords and stuff like that. So thank you, everyone. Ibade, I do want to ask a question though. And this question actually came in during the registration process. It's actually since you're the chief commercial officer, and so this person says, I'm afraid of companies and I'm afraid of companies and marketers who collect data from my children when they surf the internet. Is it safe? And what should I do to protect my kids? I'm not really sure. So that's the question. Yeah, I think it's a parent that is just really unsure about certain marketing companies and just try when your kid is online. It's normal for companies to get your information online and use it for their marketing campaigns. But I think this parent is just not sure. Is this tactic used by companies? Is it safe for their kids? Is it going to later translate to, maybe predators hacking into their accounts and coming for their kids and stuff? So I don't know if you could just maybe shed more light on this, or, allay the fears of that parent, or, or what is your take generally on this?
Okay, thank you, Tokwe. So your data is very important, so you need to protect it. So first things first, I will say, if you are not very sure of the company and you do not know what they are going to use the data for, then you need to think twice. You need to be very sure. There's always a fine print. It's just that sometimes we do not go the extra mile to read the fine print, because I know it started from, there was the global data protection regulation, and then you have it in Nigeria, NDPR. I hope I'm getting it right. So you have access to you are not supposed to give out your data if you're not comfortable giving it out. That's actually what the rule says. So actually, nobody forces you in court. It's your decision. So since it's your decision, you need to be sure that the company is a reputable one and they are not going to be using your data for anything that is inappropriate. And then there are some things that should never be shared, no matter what. A company asking you for your bank, your BVN, for example, that one is a red flag, because your BVN is very you need to protect it really well. Or asking you for your bank login details, definitely that one is a no-no. So it's good to always, try and anticipate what you think they can be using the data for. I, as a rule, personally, I try as much as possible not to put my children on social media, as in their photos, even on my own social media. It's my own personal decision, because even though, yes, I'm free to share it, but I also need to be very careful when it comes to identity theft. Sometimes these people can put two and two together from different websites and all that, and then they can get a profile of something and use somebody's details. So I, as a rule, personally minimize the pictures I put of my children online. So I feel that you need to be very sure of the website or the company, and then you need to be sure of what the data is going to be used for. And if you are in doubt, you can always ask them, because they should be able to tell you what exactly is going to be used for.
Thank you so much, Buddy. Thank you for clarifying. And, of course, it's very important that parents do have to, just put again, it boils down to parents just putting those measures in place and going the extra mile, taking that extra step to keep their kids safe on the internet. So thank you very much once again. Of course, we will soon be...
Sorry to interrupt. I wanted to add a thing or two in terms of contribution. What Imade has said is very correct, but I'll jump on that shortly. I wanted to buttress some of the things Mr. Blessing has said, and also add some information to that as well. So true, indeed, it's hard, nearly impossible to tell if you can't tell if you have the right resources or you have the right knowledge. You can actually tell if and there are one or two telltale signs to know if you've been hacked, device wise, or if your data has been compromised. But at the end of the day, it can be hard and nearly impossible, because, like you did say, ethical hackers like myself, there are ways to hide our track. So if I hack your device, for instance, I may not. If I don't want you to know, you may not know. But what is important is, first of all, making sure that your device is clean, so to say, safe and secure, such that even if I were to hack it, or even if I were to breach it, for instance, I'm not able to cause any harm, because it's a double-edged sword. For us in the profession, we ethical hackers, sometimes it's part of our job. Sometimes we need to be able to remotely access your device, especially work devices, because we also play a role in keeping it safe. You understand? But again, because it's a double-edged sword, people can also take that skill and use it negatively. So I'll give some steps, some things that we can know. For online accounts, social media, email addresses, and well, at least for those two that I'm certain of, one thing we should all do going forward is to have two-factor authentication enabled on all of them. Sometimes these things are tedious, but because doing it, the process of getting it done, doing it, going through your settings and activating all of these things, sometimes it's tedious and you lose interest. You just want to use that platform and get it over with. But I always tell people that the stress is what's the results that you get. So with two-factor authentication, for instance, what that does for you is that every time someone else other than yourself tries to get access to your online account, you are notified. And that gives you that lets you know. Last month I got a text message from WhatsApp with a link out of the blues. And that was a clear indication that someone somewhere was trying to load my WhatsApp number on another device. But because so here's what happens. There's something called WhatsApp hijacking, where a random person can literally take over your WhatsApp. Your WhatsApp is on your device. They are not even close to you. All they need is your phone number, the phone number you use on WhatsApp. They take that number, they type it into another device with a new WhatsApp installed on it, and then WhatsApp sends you a text message with a link. That's all. You seeing the link because you're familiar with WhatsApp, you use WhatsApp every day. You are wondering, oh, what is this link? And then you tap on it. The moment you open that link, you have authorized the hijacker to take over your WhatsApp accounts. That's all. That WhatsApp that you are using on your device, you get locked out of it, and that person is using it. Case closed. Your WhatsApp is gone. But a lot of people are not even aware. So, unconsciously they receive such a text message and they tap on the link out of curiosity, and then it goes. They don't ask themselves, why has WhatsApp sent me this information? I've not requested for it. I'm not doing anything to warrant it. Why have I gotten it? They just, follow curiosity or instinct. And that's because it's not coming from a place of knowledge. But for instance, if you have your two-factor authentication activated on your WhatsApp, for instance, if anyone tries to log into WhatsApp aside from you, they are prompted with a PIN. So WhatsApp has this feature where you can have a PIN set up on your WhatsApp. Without that PIN, that hijacker cannot take over your accounts. And even in the event that they do, and you get that text message of authorization, you will not click on it because your first question is, who is this person? I mean, why is WhatsApp sending me this text message? You understand? So it's important for us to, like I said before, let us also be aware. Let us try and learn about these things ourselves. And let us also turn on two-factor authentication on all our accounts online, whether it's emails or whether it's social media. That way, if anyone else is trying to access your account aside from you, you'll be notified. Another thing we should do, this is also a hassle, but it's very, very good, is to avoid saving our passwords in our browsers. Trust me, it's possible not to save your password in your browser, because what that does for you is if someone were to take over that device, they have access to your account online. So once they open your browser, they're able to log into your emails without even needing the password, because you already saved this in your browser. So every time you open your email address, you are automatically signed in. Here's what you can do. I know it's not easy. A lot of us are tempted to do it, but here's what I advise. Make sure that at least once a week, you intentionally, maybe on a weekend, maybe on a Friday, for instance, when you're done with work, sign out of everything. Just open your browser and then go to all your accounts that you've signed into, and then click sign out on everything, your emails, your social media, sign out of all of them. Then on Monday, when you're back at it again, you can sign in. At least for that week, you know that, okay, I'm signed in till Friday again. Because in between, something might happen and your device is no longer in your custody. Whoever has that device in that moment has access to all your online accounts. So in as much as it's a hassle, look at it as you're protecting yourself. Then in terms of being involved in your children's online activity, this is where this comes into play. If your child is able to come to you when they're opening their social media account, what you can do is, you see that recovery, that part of the social media account where they ask for recovery, put in a recovery email or put in a recovery number or a backup number, make sure it is your number or it is your email that is there. So that when there's a problem with that account, whether it's social media, whether it is email, once there's a problem, you'll be the one that will be notified. It will be your number that will get the text message. It will be your email that will get the notification. That way you are able to know that, oh, something is wrong with my child's account online. Someone is trying to access it. The account has been hijacked, because you will get notification as against them doing it all on their own. And if you have this conversation with them, kids are intuitive. They would understand that, okay, you're just looking out for them, you're trying to help them. And they'll be happy to make sure that, in fact, sometimes without you even being, someone has told me before, someone called me before to let me know that, I've been getting emails from a particular account. I don't have an account. When I looked at it, I realized that, apparently the person's child had created an account and the person had used her father's email address as the backup email address. So every time the child receives a notification on something, the father also receives it as well. And I was so impressed because it shows that the child is tech savvy enough to know that I should use my father's email address as my backup. That way, the father, even without the father even being aware that the child had created an account in that platform, he was already seeing notifications. So what had happened was the child was in school and they had brought in a new software they needed to use and they needed to create an account on it. So the child had gone ahead on his own without telling the father, but he had included the father's email address as the backup. So every time there was notification on that platform, the father will receive it as well. My father was confused that, why am I receiving this? I don't even know what this platform is. But when he showed it to me and I read it, I realized that, the child had created an account somewhere and had used the father's email address as the backup. And I told the father that you should be happy and you should encourage your child to do this more. Yes, he did not tell you before opening the account, but he was smart enough to use your email address as against using his own. So these are some of the things we need to encourage our children to do, that they should always remember. So give them your email address so that they're able to use it on whatever platforms they are creating. It gives them that sense of confidence that at least they can trust you to help them when they are in trouble. There was one other point I wanted to mention that escaped my mind. Sorry. If I remember, I would
I think it
chip it in.
was
But yes.
I think it was
Yeah.
about my point on, collecting data for,
Yes,
for
thank you. That was
children.
it. Yes. So, yes, God bless you. How did you know? You read my mind. Yes. So you were correct about what you said. There is the NDPR. And that question in particular, when the person says, how safe is it for my children if their information is used? The answer is it's not safe for anyone. It is a bad practice for organizations to send adverts to people that they have not sought their consent to do so. So it's not just for children. It is bad for everyone. If I register, so for instance, Talkware has my information, right, with Octave Analytics. They should not give that data to anyone else without my permission. Because when they do, they are not aware of, apart from the fact that it's a bad practice, how can they guarantee that third party's security? So if, for instance, for example, if Topper were to give my email address to another organization that they work with, how can they guarantee that that organization will not sell the data they have given to another person? And before Topper knows it, this one person she gave my email address has now gone to 10 other different people, So it's important that organizations always inform their customers that we have so data and would like to share it. Do you permit us? Something as simple as that. And when the people say no, let it be that, because you don't know who or what that third party might do with that data. So it's always safer not to share. And people need to know that they can be sued, because the NDPR has given that legislation that if you find your data in the wrong hands, you can sue that third party. You can ask them. For instance, if you don't have an account in a bank, that bank should not be sending you a text message. It's only in Nigeria you see such things and people get away with it. Your child should not be getting text messages from platforms they are not signed up on. If they do and they inform you, you can sue that organization, because you need to ask them, where did you get my child's number? Where did you get my number from? How are you able to send me information when we've not signed up on your platform before? So that's also very, very important. Then on the chat, I put a website on the chat, if you can all see it. It's a platform where you can go to check if your email address has been breached. So this website was put together by security researchers, well-trusted, verified security researchers. And what they do is they have a database of breaches that have happened over the years. So for instance, places like Canva is an online design tool that people sign up to use. Even LinkedIn, these are places that have been breached before in the past. And by breach, I mean that the database of these organizations have been attacked and people have stolen emails from them for whatever reason they want to use it for. So what this website does is that it has a collection of these breaches, and whenever you type in, so if you go to the website right now, it's like a search engine box. All you do is type in your email address, and it will give you a result, let you know if your email address has been part of any breach that has happened before in the last, say, 10 years. So if, for instance, when LinkedIn was hacked in 2018, and a lot of email addresses were stolen from LinkedIn, And LinkedIn themselves reported this and told everyone to change their LinkedIn password. So if you go to that website now and you type in your email address, if your email address was part of those data that was breached in 2018 on LinkedIn, it will be shown, that website will let you know that, okay, your email address was part of those that were stolen. Another platforms as well that your email address might have been stolen from, that platform will let you know. So it's always good to once in a while go to that platform, just type in all the email addresses you use. If you have 3, if you have 4, just type in all those email addresses one by one, and then it will give you a result letting you know if they were part of any breach in the past. Then lastly, if we have old accounts online, old email addresses we're not using online, let's take time to deactivate them, because attackers look for these redundant accounts online and try to use them. You may have an old email address that you've forgotten the password and you've not been using it in a long time. That's true. You're not using it, but it's existing. It's there online. Someone will try to activate it and then use it, pretending to be you. So if you can go back to those platforms, try to reset your password and then close those accounts if you are able to. It's sometimes you're not able to, and that's fine. But where you are able to, go back to those platforms, close them. If you have opened accounts on certain platforms you're no longer using, that maybe you no longer have any interest in using those platforms again, don't just leave them. Don't just abandon them. Always go. Some of us have had Facebook accounts for as far back as 5, 6 years, and we're no longer active on those platforms. If you feel that you're not ever going to use those accounts again, it's actually better to go back there and then turn them off or deactivate them, such that no one is able to use the accounts behind you. So these are some of the steps you can take. Then, of course, like Mr. Blessing did say, let us all take time to update. You can never overemphasize the importance of updates. If you have antivirus installed on your devices, update them. Your antivirus is only as useful as your last update. If you don't update your antivirus, then it's not really useful. So whether it's a paid one, sometimes people feel that once they've bought an antivirus of like 10K, 7K, they're fine. It's working. After they paid for it. That's true. But if you've not updated to the latest signature, then it's as good as useless. So the apps we have installed, even on your kids' devices, take time to update the apps on those devices. Sometimes put it to automatic updates so that whenever there's data on the device or Wi-Fi, it automatically update. Those updates always come with security features that protect the users of those apps and the devices, such that anyone that is trying to hack into it or trying to steal information from it, the antivirus or the device in this case would have some measures to protect that from happening. But if you don't do those updates, you won't even be aware that your data has been breached, not to talk of taking a step to stop it. Yeah. So these are some of the things we can do. There is no almighty formula in all of this. And like Mr. Blessing did say, every day there are new threats and there are new attacks. So what is important is for you to just be abreast of the information, attend sessions like this, learn on your own, and try to practicalize some of the things that you've heard or you've read about. It's all in a bid to make sure that we're all safe and protected, both us, the guardians, and also our children online. We can only do the best we can. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Debisi. Honestly, I just feel like, so much information and knowledge just coming from you. Thank you so much. In fact, I feel like this has even gone beyond just keeping kids safe online. I think it's also for adults as well, because some of the things you made mention of, I personally didn't even know a lot of them. Of course, I just want to do a quick recap of what you said so far. Your device, of course, should be clean, safe, and secure. And you spoke about having the two-factor authentication on your email and your social media. I mean, that's very important myself, because I've also been a victim of, someone just used my WhatsApp number to send funny messages to people, like, people on my group talking about some goods or something funny like that. And that's when I got to know about the two-factor authentication. So it has helped me, it has saved me. And I want to just plead that if you don't have this the two-factor authentication, or you have to do that on all your emails, your social media handles, and also for your kids as well. It would really go a long way. And you talked about WhatsApp hijacking. That's a usual occurrence again, so we should also put those measures in place. And you made mention of avoiding saving your passwords on your browser. I think I used to be guilty of this as well. It's just bring that pop-up, do you want to save your password, and you just click yes, because you are too lazy to always retype your password. But again, you gave that measure, you gave the suggestion of I mean, maybe towards the end of the week, you can log out of all your social media handles and your emails. Of course, this also goes for your kids, you know, and maybe after a couple of days, you can sign back in. This also really, it goes a long way. And, you know, for your kids, have the recovery email. Have if you're going to open social media accounts or emails for your kids, have your phone number or your email as their recovery email so that you will be kept abreast of what is going on. And of course, you talked about NDPR. It's wrong if they use that information. Of course, it's only in Nigeria where, you know, you don't give people consent to use your information, but they still do. And of course, they can be sued. So I don't know if any parent here has fallen victim of it that you want to sue, but you know, you can be sued. It's your right. It's your right. You can sue them because they're not supposed to use your information or your kids' information. Deactivate old accounts. Okay, this is something I think that most of all of us here have old accounts, old emails. Some of us don't really use Facebook that much anymore. So for your kids also as well, because again, this is also for kids. Any old account they have or that you have, please do well to deactivate them. They can be used by some of these fraudsters to do funny things. And of course, update your system, update your antivirus. Don't think about the data that you're going to be using to update, but just do that and it would really, really go a long way. So, Mr. Adebisi, you've really shared a lot, and honestly, I can't thank you enough. Parents and participants, of course, please, we'll be sharing the recording of this video, of this session, sorry, and we'll also be sending just like a brief recap of what we have spoken about so far, just, you know, to, you know, as a summary, just so that you guys are aware of some of these tips, and you guys, it's just there at the back of your minds, some of the measures that you can put in place to take care of, to keep your kids safe on the internet. So thank you very much. We're about to round up. I want to just say, before we round up, of course, because we know that, you know, everyone, we have other things that we want to do. Of course, this has been a very, very productive session, but I just want to give room for, you know, any other person that may want to have a question. If you have any question, please, you can use the icon to raise your hands. You can raise your hands, or you can also type your questions in the comment section below. Mr. Habib and Ms. Bade, they've been so wonderful in, you know, sharing insights. And I don't know if any other person may want to have a question. You can just signify by raising up your hands or by typing your questions in the comment section. And while we wait for probably any other person that may want to ask a question, or again, if you also have something to share, it's not, if you want to make a contribution, you can also do that as well. It's not just for questions. If you want to share an experience that you've had in the past, of course, this now will be a wonderful time to do that. Mr. Davis, okay, someone is saying, I missed the part on steps to take if existing email addresses has been breached. What do I do? So I don't know if Mr. Adebisi, I don't know if you want to just quickly do like a recap, you know, to clarify that point.
All right. So if you were to use that website, for instance, and from the results you get, it tells you that your email address were part of those that were stolen in a breach. What you would do is the platform where it was stolen from, you need to go to that platform. If it's a platform where you're active on, let's say, for instance, the email address you use on LinkedIn was part of those that were stolen during the LinkedIn breach. What you then need to do is go to LinkedIn and then change your email address. Change your password. Go to LinkedIn and then change your LinkedIn password. Also, that email address itself, also change the password to that email address itself. But if it happens to be a platform that you've not used in a long time, or you're not even interested anymore, then if you can, go to that platform and then deactivate that account completely. Those are the steps you need to take, basically.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much for that quick recap. Okay, so I guess, you know, I have one more question, and then we'll call it a day. And I want to direct this question to Ibade. So, you know, we want to talk about some of the things, some measures that schools should also put in place. I want to believe that there are some educationists that are amongst us, because I know we sent invites to some schools, you know, and I don't know if one or two of them are actually here. But, you know, I just wanted to know what if you have anything to say about measures that schools can also put in place, because again, our kids spend a lot of time in schools and they are with their peers. Of course, we want to believe that this is a conversation that schools should also be having about keeping their kids safe, because a lot of schools, of course, have used the internet for a lot of their schoolwork and stuff. So I don't know if you have anything to say as regards some of the measures that schools can also put in place in terms of protecting students in schools, and maybe if they can start a conversation with parents regarding internet safety for kids as well.
Okay. So like I mentioned at the beginning, like my children's school, they train them, or they give them, like a presentation on dangers of or the possible dangers of using the internet, and things that they need to be things they need to know about. So like the predators online, things like that, who to speak to. I mean, they gave them all of that. Now, some schools use different, with this whole online, schooling that a lot of schools have adopted, some sort of blended learning. I know that a lot of schools use different platforms. Some use Google Classroom, some use Microsoft Teams, or even Zoom. For some, it's not so safe, but they find ways around it. Like if you have a paid account, I don't advise any school to use the free Zoom, because then you can be exposed. But even though I know Zoom is trying to do, some things in that area, like ensuring everybody authenticates, have password. You can't just, or you have waiting rooms and all that. But I believe that as much as possible, it's good if schools use the paid platforms, the ones that they can, monitor, and then they can also track what has been going on, in the past. Like they can see the history. So like the Google Classroom, I'm very familiar with that one. I know it does that. I also think Microsoft Teams, you can see what's going on, because beyond the internet, even children amongst themselves, when they are online, sometimes they chat while classes are going on. And some of the things that these children chat about, honestly, you'll be shocked. There was a camp my 8-year-old, participated in, and they had to, in quotes, expel one of the boys because he had been given repeated warnings on the kind of language he was using during the camp, chatting with others. But it's because they could see, the chat history. So it's also important that schools go back to read through the chats that goes on when classes are going on, or if they can disable the chat option, it may be the chat bot, it may be an option. However, sometimes you also want the children to give their responses via the chat room. So, but it's good that schools go back to read the kind of, conversations that have gone on in the chat room. Sometimes it may be during their break period, and then they are chatting about some things and you're amazed or you're shocked that how can children talk about these kind of things? So it's really about being vigilant and using the appropriate tools. And then, of course, you need to keep letting children know the dangers online and how they need to be prepared to, mitigate or prevent themselves from being victims.
Thank you so much, Ibade, for that wonderful contribution. And then, there's so much that we should do as parents and as educators to just keep our kids safe. Of course, we can't do a lot. I mean, we can't do everything, but we can actually do a lot, actually, for our kids, just to make sure that they feel safe and secure when they surf the internet. And I guess on that note, we just want to call it a day. At the end of the day, we really hope that our participants have actually gained a lot, with this program. This is the first of its kind, and we're hoping to have more sessions like this in the nearest future. I'll probably expand this and have like some sort of seminar where we talk about internet safety for kids, and not only kids, but parents as well. Working class parents, educationists, and people generally. So on that note, I just want to thank everybody for taking out the time to just come attend today's program. Honestly, I know how our weekends are. We all have things doing, but for you to just take out 1 hour and 40 minutes to be part of today's program, honestly, I can't thank you all enough. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to our wonderful, wonderful panelists. Mr. Habib Adebisi, honestly, I guess what will happen is, I don't know, sir, can we Mr. Habib and Mr. Bade, can we share your emails to our participants just in case they have like follow-up questions that they may want to ask you later on, because I know that there are a lot of parents here that may have more questions even after this program. So I was hoping if we could just share your emails with them so that they can contact you when they have questions.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, same here. Just go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Of course, parents, so I will be sending you an email with the resources, the recording of today's program, and of course their emails. So in case you have more questions that you may want to ask them, please feel free. And of course, we also want to thank our CEO, Mr. Blessing, for of course birthing this vision and putting this together. Thank you so much. I don't know. I feel like I've just heard Mr. Blessing, Mr. Ibade, and Mr. Habib. I've not heard any of our participants. I want to hear one or two voices so that we know that at least, So I don't know. Maybe our participants can unmute their mics and just thank. I don't know. Maybe say hi or thank our speakers or something. I don't know.
Thank you very much. It's been very helpful.
Oh, thank you. Thank
you very much for putting this together.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter. Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who attended. I don't want to take more of your time. So I don't know, Blessing, do you have anything else you want to share before we call it a day? Mr. Blessing. Oh, okay.
No, thank you, Doctor. Just to say maybe a very short vote of thanks. I want to thank everyone that made this possible, and especially to our panelists, Mrs. Ibade and Mr. Adebisi, and to our beautiful moderator. We know you put a lot of effort to make this happen. The organization, the advert, the communication, and everything. This is world class, and I want to really thank you for making this happen. I think the next step for us now is to share all of these insights and this knowledge with a larger audience. Share the video, share the content, the material, the links. I just check what Mr. Adebisi mentioned about whether your website has been hacked. I just checked now. My website has been hacked. My email has been hacked by 6 different websites. So thank you for so thank you for making me to know that. So I need to just take the right step in order to maybe fix all of that. But thank you, everyone.
Please share it so that we'll know how to check too.
No problem, Mr. Peter. We'll send an email to you so that you can also check as well. But it's also in the group chat. But we'll share an email. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.